The Channel studio here in London. Sir Kim Darroch has resigned as UK ambassador to the US amid a row over leaked emails critical of President Trump's administration. Sir Tim was made ambassador to the US in January 2016, having worked as the UK permanent representative to the EU. In a series of tweets, Mr. Trump called the ambassador a very stupid guy. It's after emails from Mr. Kim were leaked which called the current US administration clumsy and inept. In a letter to the Foreign Office, Sir Kim said, "Since the leak of official documents from this embassy, there has been a great deal of speculation surrounding my position and the duration of my remaining term as ambassador. The current situation is making it impossible for me to carry out my role as I would like." The Prime Minister Theresa May said in the House of Commons it was a matter of great regret that he felt it necessary to resign.
The whole Cabinet rightly gave its full support to Sir Kim on Tuesday. Sir Kim has given a lifetime of service to the United Kingdom, and we owe him an enormous debt of gratitude. Good government depends on public servants being able to give full and frank advice.
Meanwhile, Iran has warned the UK it will suffer the consequences for seizing an oil tanker off the island of Gibraltar. President Rouhani demanded the immediate release of the Grace 1, which British Royal Marines boarded off Gibraltar last week and seized on suspicion that it was breaking sanctions by taking oil to Syria.
You are the initiator of insecurity, and you will realise the consequences later. Now you are so hopeless. When one of your tankers wants to move in the region, you have to bring your frigates because you are scared.
The former British Prime Minister John Major says he would seek a judicial review to stop the future leader shutting down Parliament in order to force through a no-deal Brexit. It comes a day after the two candidates for the top job took part in a heated debate. Boris Johnson once again said he would suspend Parliament if necessary.
If that were to happen, I think there would be a queue of people who would seek judicial review. The Queen's decision cannot be challenged in law. But the Prime Minister's advice to the Queen can, I believe, be challenged in law.
The German Chancellor has been seen shaking for the third time in as many weeks. Angela Merkel shook visibly as she stood at a military honours ceremony alongside the Finnish Prime Minister outside the Chancellery in Berlin on Wednesday. It followed similar episodes on June the 18th and June the 27th. And as in both those cases, the 64-year-old recovered quickly as she started walking. Afterwards, she told journalists she was fine. Continuous torrential rain in East China's Jiangxi province has triggered floods, leading to the evacuation of tens of thousands of residents. Over 60,000 residents were affected across some 12 towns in Jiangsu City, with the floodwaters reaching 2 meters deep in some areas. Firefighters have been dispatched to rescue the trapped with steamboats and transferred them to relocation centres. Australia has announced it will hold a national vote within 3 years on whether to include recognition of Indigenous people in the country's constitution. Australia has struggled to reconcile with descendants of its first inhabitants, who arrived on the continent some 50,000 years before British colonists, but are not recognised in the country's constitution. Amid overwhelming public support, Ken Wyatt, the first Indigenous Australian to hold the position of Minister for Indigenous Australians, promised a referendum before 2022. The Iraqi Ministry of Culture says the successful inscription of Babylon on the UNESCO's World Heritage List provides many opportunities for industries in the country.
Babylon catches the eye of the world and will also attract tourists from other countries as well as public and private tourism institutions. We will continue to develop the historical sites so as to boost the development of tourism.
And finally, Barbie hopes to encourage more girls to consider careers in the space industry with the help of a new role model, Italian astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti. The 42-year-old has been presented with a unique doll in her likeness as Barbie. Cristoforetti, who was the first Italian woman in space, said that she hopes the collaboration between the manufacturer and the European Space Agency will help young girls and boys to dream about their future without limits. The partnership is part of Barbie's ongoing Dream Gap project, which the brand says is aimed at challenging young girls' beliefs about their possible futures.
With hard work and a little bit of luck, you can be anything.
And that's your international news around the world in 5.